Hi everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Penny here. So, took a break last week, but that's okay. We're back this week. And today we are going to make cream cheese candy. And this is a true no-bake recipe. There's no oven, there's no microwave, there's no stovetop, and it's really, really cool. Caitlin and I did it last weekend. And I'll show you our final product. We made them a little too big. We're going to make them smaller this week. But they are mint candies. They should be half this size. We used the 1 tablespoon. Today we're going to use 1 teaspoon. Because they really should just be like pop in your mouth, a little mint candy. And when you store them between pieces of parchment paper. Some we put some red colored sugar on, which we have a bowl of here today, and some we just left plain. So, what we do is we mix a half a block of cream cheese, just a half a block. Then we take about a tablespoon or so, like the size of a small egg, of soft butter. And I've got 2 of those mixed in here, just with a fork, nice and soft. Then we're going to add in some peppermint extract, just a 1/4 of a teaspoon, because it's really, really strong. But you could use whatever flavor you like. You could use vanilla, you could use almond, you could use caramel, you could use rum, you know. But whatever you like. But traditionally, these are mint candies. Sometimes you find them at baby showers, wedding showers, weddings. But today we're focusing on Christmas. So we're going to do some with the red sugar and some white. And we also have 3 cups of icing sugar. So it's very, very fine. And that all gets mixed in. The peppermint extract and the icing sugar gets mixed in with the cream cheese and that little bit of butter. And I guess that's why they're called cream cheese candies. And when they're all mixed, we're going to shape them and lay them on a sheet with parchment paper. And then we're just going to leave them out. They say to leave them out for 2 to 3 hours. I left mine out overnight. Then you can store them in the fridge in an airtight container with a piece of parchment paper in between each one. Or a little jar. And they'll last 2 to 3 weeks in the fridge. Or you can freeze them, again, in between the parchment paper. And what I read was they'll last for up to a year. So they make a lot. With the 1 tablespoon, we ended up with 32. So we should get at least double that. So say 65. But depending on how small they are, you could even end up with close to 100 little mints, which is really cool. And if you wanted to layer them, like in a little jar as a gift, just remember to put the parchment paper in between each layer, because I think they would be a really cool gift. You don't have to use the colored sugar. You can just leave them white, or you can add food coloring, so you can make them whatever color that you want. Okay? All right, so, and when they're done and they're dry, I don't know if you can hear this, but can you hear that? They go hard, just all by themselves, which is really cool. But then when you bite into them, they just kind of melt. They're really, really good. Really good. Okay, so let's get going. We have our cream cheese softened, not melted, but softened, and our soft butter, and that's all mashed up together. So now I'm going to take a 1/4 teaspoon, not very much, of the peppermint oil. Sprinkle that in. Whew, you can smell it already. Strong. Don't use too much. And I'm going to mix that all in. And like I said, if you don't like mint, you can use whatever extract that you like. Okay, and now we're just going to do a little bit at a time of icing sugar, because icing sugar will fly away and can be really messy. So you just want to take your time, and believe it or not, all of that icing sugar will end up in this bowl, which is really cool. But it does take a few minutes. So if you were doing this, say, for Halloween, you could use, I don't know if you get orange. What two colors go together to make orange? Yellow and red? Food coloring? You could make orange ones with brown sprinkles. If you were doing Easter ones, I'm sure you could do pink, blue, pale purple, all kinds of Easter springy colors. Again, for a baby shower, you could do pink and blue. Either roll them in the colored sugars, or you could use the food coloring. The imagination is endless. And again, this does take a few minutes. So we're just going to pause for a minute while I do the rest of this, because this is really all we're doing until it's all in there, and I'll be right back. Hi everybody, back again. Okay, so as you can see, towards the end I switched to a spatula so I could get all the icing sugar that was in the bowl, and eventually you're going to end up with what looks like a little blob. Okay, sorry about that, didn't mean to knock that. I ended up only putting in about 2.5 cups of the 3 cups of icing sugar. Now that's going to vary depending on the moisture in the air, believe it or not. And it's also going to depend on how much moisture, which brand that you use of the cream cheese. So there's about 1/2 cup of icing sugar here that I can put away. And we are going to use a 1 teaspoon, just a little teaspoon. And Barry, can I trouble you to get me a fork? And then we're going to kind of roll that around in the, can you see that? In the red candied sugar. Yay! Now, that is so cool. Thank you. And we're going to put a little bit of icing sugar right here. Could be in a little bowl. I just happen to have it on a cutting board. So we're going to get our other 1 teaspoon and we're going to roll it. Now, you want your little ball of dough to be sticky. When Caitlin and I made the first batch as our test batch, I added all of the icing sugar. And they didn't roll very well. They didn't stick to the candied sugar very well. And when we went to press them, they kind of crumbled a little bit. So that's why I didn't put in. It was a judgment call of how much left of the icing sugar to put in. So this is really nice and soft and really good. All right, so if you dip your fork into a little bit of the icing sugar, and then lightly press and lift. Live TV. There we go. Into the icing sugar. And just press them down. So you do all of them. You let them dry just on the kitchen counter for at least 2 to 3 hours. But like I said, I left mine overnight. And then when you go to put them in the fridge and whatnot, they'll be, see how they just kind of, they're hard, but then you snap them open and they're nice and soft on the inside and minty. They're delicious. So I'm going to keep rolling. I hope you give it a go. And remember, you can use whatever color sugar, sprinkle cake thingies that you want to use, icing sugar, or sorry, food coloring. Or you can just leave them white. It's all good. So I hope you try it. Take care. Bye. Enjoy.